Hi, it's Reggie. Welcome back to Moonlight and Moments. Sometimes, the second time you love yourself isn't as tough as the first. The first time might feel like awakening, like realizing you've been holding your breath and finally letting it go. But the second time is different. It doesn't sweep in with warmth or joy. It isn't a burst of light or a clean new chapter. The second time feels heavier, sharper, like the air itself is pressing against your skin. It happens when you've already tasted what it means to choose yourself once. And now life is asking, will you do it again, even when it hurts? It's not the kind of love people write poems about. There are no flowers, no soft music in the background. Instead, it's the kind of love that shows up in silence, in a locked room, in the moments when the world tells you to doubt what you feel and you refuse. For Xyriel, that moment arrived when she was placed in a room she could not leave. White walls, bright lights, questions she couldn't answer, drawings and words that didn't feel like her own, yet lived in her hands. Most people would call it confusion. They told her she was imagining things. They told her she was wrong. But deep down, she felt something else, something she couldn't shake. And this time, instead of silencing herself, instead of letting her truth vanish under someone else's voice, she chose to believe what was inside her, even fractured, even trembling, even incomplete. That choice, the choice to trust herself in the present moment, was love. Quiet, defiant, undeniable love. And maybe that's the kind of love we all need to remember. The love that doesn't wait for proof. The love that doesn't wait for permission. The love that whispers simply, I believe me. So take a breath and let's begin. The light in the room is too bright. Not warm like sunlight. Sharp, sterile. It bounces off the white walls until she feels it under her skin. They call this observation. Four walls, a narrow bed, a table with a sketchbook, and a pencil no one remembers giving her. The door is locked from the outside. Xyriel doesn't remember how she got here. The last thing she recalls is standing in her kitchen with her father's voice in the background. Then, nothing. And the air smells faintly of antiseptic and rain. On the first day, she flips open the sketchbook. The first few pages are hers. She recognizes her lines, the way she draws the door frame slightly crooked, shadows thicker on the left side. But then she turns the page and her stomach clenches. Drawings she doesn't remember. Messages in handwriting that mimics hers but isn't. He's always near a door. Don't answer if he calls. You know how this ends. She shuts the book too quickly, the sound too loud in the quiet. There's a camera in the corner of the ceiling. A red light blinks. They tell her it's for safety. She doesn't feel safe. The days blend together. Sometimes she wakes with her fists clenched, dirt under her nails again. Once, she finds the red thread wrapped around the leg of the bed, tied in a knot she knows that she didn't make. It's the third night when it happens. She wakes to the sound of her name, Xyriel, spoken low, almost tender. She's not dreaming. Her eyes are open, fixed on the ceiling. The voice is coming from the door. She turns her head. Through the narrow glass panel, the hallway is dim. And there, at the far end, a figure. Tall, still, pale. Exactly as in her sketches. Her breath catches, but she doesn't look away. This time, she refuses to blink first. The figure tilts its head. Something shifts in her memory. A flash of that same hallway years ago, her mother's voice shouting, footsteps pounding toward her. She can't hold on to it. The image slides away, leaving her aching. In the morning, they tell her there was no one in the hall, that the camera saw nothing, that maybe she was dreaming. She doesn't argue. She doesn't try to convince them. She writes it down in the sketchbook, in her own handwriting. I believe me. That's the second time she loved herself. Not with comfort, not with answers, but with the choice to trust her own mind, even when the world around her calls it broken. The present has a way of tugging at us. It doesn't always pull gently. Sometimes it drags, sometimes it claws, sometimes it whispers until you start to question whether you imagined it at all. That's where Xyriel finds herself. Inside a white room with no windows, surrounded by people who call her confused, who tell her she's mistaken, who imply her memory is untrustworthy, her feelings unstable. And yet, there, in the blur of doubt, she makes a choice to believe herself, not with certainty, not with evidence, but with trust. That's the kind of self love we rarely talk about, not the soothing kind, not the gentle affirmations or warm baths, but the raw act of refusing to abandon yourself when everyone else has already decided you must be wrong. It's easier than we think to internalize those outside voices, to let them replace our own. You're too dramatic. You made it up. You always twist things. And little by little, we start editing ourselves, questioning our own memory, gaslighting our own hearts. But Sai's moment in the white room tells us something else. Self-love is not always soft. Sometimes it is sharp and stubborn. Sometimes it's a single sentence scrawled on paper. I believe me. It doesn't erase the fear. It doesn't fix the fractured memories. But it plants a seed. A reminder that even in the middle of unraveling, your truth deserves a place in the light. And here's the learning. You don't have to remember perfectly to be real. You don't have to explain yourself flawlessly to matter. Your story is still yours, even if it trembles. Loving yourself in the present means trusting what you feel, what you recall, what you know in your bones carries weight. It means not silencing yourself to keep others comfortable. It means daring to anchor into your own body's truth, even when the world doubts you. That's what the present won't let go. The pull of disbelief, dismissal, denial. And that's what makes Xyriel's act so powerful. Because in that moment, she chose not to let go of herself. Have you ever been told you were wrong about your own experience? Maybe it was small, like someone insisting they never said those words, even though you can still hear them echoing in your mind. Or maybe it was bigger, being told you weren't hurt, you weren't scared, you weren't mistreated, when every part of you knew otherwise. That's a kind of fracture too, not just between you and the person denying your truth, but between you and yourself. Because if they don't believe you, should you? If they tell you it didn't happen, does your memory still matter? This is where many of us begin to unravel. Not because we're weak, not because we're broken, but because living in two versions of reality at once, the one you feel inside and the one people demand you accept, tears at you in quiet ways. It might look like over apologizing, like second guessing every decision, like silencing yourself before you even speak. It might look like a smile that feels too heavy because you're performing a version of yourself that doesn't match what you carry inside. And yet, just as Xyriel discovered, the unraveling doesn't mean you're lost. It means there's still a thread of truth running through you, waiting to be held. You might not remember everything clearly. You might doubt yourself 10 times a day. You might feel shaky and unsure. But self-love in the present doesn't mean you have to feel confident all the time. It means choosing over and over to believe that your story has value, that your body's reactions, your instincts, your memories, even when fractured, are worthy of respect. It means not abandoning yourself, even when others do. For some, that choice feels like scribbling a note in a notebook. I believe me. For others, it's as simple as taking a breath when doubt rises and whispering back, my feelings are real, my story matters. The unraveling doesn't have to end in collapse. Sometimes it's just the body making space for the truth to breathe. And maybe that's the present's greatest demand, to love the version of you who's still trying, still searching, still holding on, even when the world says let go. When the present feels too heavy, too sharp, too full of questions you can't answer, it's easy to believe that unraveling means you're failing. But what if it's just proof that you're still here, still trying? Self-love in this space doesn't look polished. It looks like tiny acts of trust, repeated gently. Here are a few ways to practice. 1. Write it down even if it doesn't make sense. Memories, feelings, flashes of fear. Put them on paper without judgment. Don't worry about whether they're complete or logical. Let them exist. The act of writing says, I trust that what I feel deserves space. 2. Anchor yourself in your body. When doubt swells, notice something physical. Press your feet into the ground. Place a hand over your heart. Take one slow breath. Remind yourself, I am here. What I feel is real because I am real. 3. Protect your truth. You don't need to explain everything to everyone. Sometimes self-love is choosing who deserves to hear your story and keeping parts of it safe until you're ready. 4. Create a small reminder. A phrase on a sticky note, a stone in your pocket, a quiet mantra, I believe me. When the unraveling voice whispers, let your reminder speak louder. 5. Allow the ache without rushing it away. The present will tug at you with unfinished pieces, with unanswered questions. Pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're living. And every ache you stay present with becomes a thread stitched back into your wholeness. Remember, you don't have to hold everything together to love yourself. Sometimes the love is in the holding itself, the way you cradle your own trembling, the way you don't abandon yourself when you're scared. You are not just surviving the unraveling. You are loving the version of you who keeps breathing through it. And that is enough. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Take a slow breath in. Let it drift out. Now imagine yourself standing in a room. The walls are white. The air is still. There is no window, no clock, no way to tell how much time has passed. At first, the room feels empty. And then you notice something. On the table is a small notebook. The cover is plain. The page is blank, waiting. You reach for it. The paper is cool beneath your fingertips. When you press the pencil to the page, words begin to appear. Not from outside of you, not from anyone else's hand, but from your own. They are simple, they are steady. I believe me. Breathe those words in. Let them settle into the softest part of you. As you look around, the room shifts. Where the wall once pressed in, you notice cracks of light appearing. Thin at first, then widening. They're not doors yet, not windows, but reminders that this space isn't forever. That outside of here, the world is waiting. You don't need to push through the walls. You don't need to escape. You only need to stay with yourself. The unraveling doesn't erase who you are. It doesn't mean you're lost. It only means you're peeling back what no longer fits, what was never yours to carry. Let yourself sit in the stillness. Feel your breath moving in and out. Proof that you are real. You are here. You are whole even in the pieces. When doubt whispers, let the words rise again. I believe me. Say it softly in your mind, or aloud if you want to hear the strength of your own voice. With every breath, the cracks of light grow larger, until the white room is no longer closing in. It's opening. Wide, bright, alive. And you are still standing there, unraveled perhaps, but not undone. Take one more breath, hold it gently, and as you let it go, carry with you the knowing that you do not have to prove your truth to make it real. It is yours, and that is enough. When you're ready, open your eyes, or stay here a little longer in the quiet glow of your own presence. You know, if you're listening right now and you feel you're unraveling, like the edges of you are fraying, like you can't quite hold yourself together, please hear this. Unraveling is not the same as breaking. It can feel like you're coming undone, like you're slipping through your own hands. But what if the unraveling is simply the body's way of loosening what no longer serves you? What if it's making room for the truth to breathe? The present has a way of tugging hard at us. People question what we know. They tell us our memories don't match. They ask us to shrink or bend or explain ourselves until we no longer recognize our own story. And in that pressure, it's so easy to abandon ourselves, to start doubting what we feel, what we've seen, what we've survived. But self-love in this moment, the kind of love Xyriel found, isn't polished. It isn't easy. It doesn't arrive with certainty. It arrives in fragments and whispers and scribbled words on a page. I believe me. That's what I want you to carry from this episode. You don't need every answer to be worthy of love. You don't need perfect clarity to be enough. Your story, even trembling, even unraveling, still matters. So if you're holding yourself together by just a thread tonight, let it be enough. If all you can do is breathe and whisper kindness to yourself, let it be enough. If you can take just one small step toward trusting your own truth, let it be enough. Because even in the unraveling, you are still whole. Even in the unraveling, you are still loved. Even in the unraveling, you are still worthy of your own belief. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Follow Moonlight and Moments wherever you listen and share with someone who might need a little light today. Until next time, and as always, love yourself better than yesterday.
The walls are white, the light is thin. I hear my name, it pulls me in. A shadow waits, I can't let go. But the present holds what I still know. I'm unraveling, but I'm still here. Even trembling, I won't disappear. The present pulls, but I won't fall. I'll believe myself through it all. The pages fill with words I write. I see his shape beyond the night. They say I'm lost, but I still know what the present won't let go. I'm unraveling, but I'm still here. Even trembling, I won't disappear. The present pulls, but I won't fall. I'll believe myself through it all. I'm unbroken, not gone, just holding on. I'm not broken, pulls, but I won't fall. I'll believe myself through it all. The pages fill with words I write. I see his shape beyond the night. They say I'm lost, but I still know what the